This is the Coming Home Podcast with John Allen. There she is. Welcome, Lena. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you so much. It's nice to be with you again, on even if it's on screen.
Yeah. Well, eventually either I will find my way up to Mo I Rana for something, or you'll find your way here to Drammen for something, and we can do this face to face. And I owe you a big hug. You have been quite the inspiration in my life, my professional life, my athletic life, since the first time I met you. And that was, maybe 10 years ago. We were at a course. You were actually one of the course leaders, and the inspiration was there. So thank you for that.
Thank you. That's so nice of you to say. Yeah. I remember also you, as I said, like this inspiring person, just giving the whole group a lot of great energy. So it's like a good memory for me as well.
Well, thank you for that. Along those lines, this is what I'd like to talk with you about. You're one of those people who, like I said, you inspire me. You've been doing that for years. It sounds even more powerful if I say you've been inspiring me for a decade. That sounds so much better than you've been inspiring me for years. A decade, let's say a decade. And you're one of those people who, in your work that you do, in your course through life, you're advancing yourself, but you're also constantly giving back to others.
Yes.
How did you get on this path?
Yeah. Actually, when you just said that, it was like, it sort of is, if I can bring something out to the world or people around me, that gives me the inspiration to continue my journey on myself, to evolve and become better at what I do. So that's like quite an inspiration, just wanting to give it out to the people or whatever I inspire in. So it's what it comes off. It's really, it feels sort of my purpose to spread good energy and to inspire people to love themselves more and be more happy about themselves. That's sort of like, it's very big up there, but behind everything I do, there's actually a big part of my personal where the growth where I picks up all my inspiration and wanting to do this. It feels like my purpose to do that.
So you feel a genuine inspiration, a genuine purpose to do the work that you do. This isn't just something you're doing to make money. This isn't just something that's happening randomly. This is your purpose.
Yeah. I've thought about that many times, because if I wanted to earn money or something else, I probably should have done like with all the hours I put into it. I'm doing okay. I do okay also money-wise, but if I were to put all these hours into something else, I probably, of course, could have definitely earned a lot of more money. So I have to, of course, be able to live of it and have my foundational things in life be in order, but it's definitely it's the feeling. I just love the feeling to see other people sort of being able to hold their hand on their way. Maybe sometimes we're not in contact with our resources, because I really believe we all have the resources we need within us, but sometimes we're not connected to them and we need a hand to hold on to. And I'm humbling being that person.
That is a great way of saying it.
A lot of gratefulness.
That's a great way of saying it. Sometimes with all of the roadblocks that are in life, people can lose track of who they are. They can lose track of their essence or their own individual purpose. And that's where people like you come in. You're like that beacon in the distance that help people to reorient and then find their path again and then continue down it, or maybe find a totally new path. I experience you as someone who, at least for me, you opened my eyes to a few aspects of the mental side of things. I was always very much in touch with the physical, being a strength athlete and everything, but you opened my mind to the mental side of things. So not only can I imagine you helping people to get back on their path, but you can maybe open their eyes to a totally new path, and that's special.
Yes, sometimes that happens. Yeah, that you get a I sometimes I can be the person, maybe giving the person a wider side or see more side to something. And but it's always within them, that's what I mean. It maybe I can be the hand to hold in so they see this, but it's already there. I can't really create it. So that's the humble role I have. So I feel very grateful when I see these things happening in person. It really take a U-turn and they see things in a better way for them. I love when that happens. Those big
and it's important to stay humble in that process. Some people get into this position of power and influence where they can help people and they can affect other people's lives, and a certain amount of arrogance starts to creep into it, and they lose their humility, they lose their humbleness, and then it becomes something that's not very attractive to people. But you keep your sense of humor. You've stayed humble. Talk to me a little bit about, because you've got quite the complex of instructional videos that you've put out for different physical things that people can do to improve their lives. Can you talk about that a little bit? Here's your chance to advertise for that.
Yeah. Probably my Instagram account a little bit you're referring to now. I love to inspire how you in your daily life, like I often say, 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there can really, when it happens regularly basis, it can really make such a great impact in your life. And I don't really mean that you have to do something for 5 minutes, but it can be all these small things of movement in everyday life. That's just, if you just do it every day, you're going to feel different in a month, and definitely in a year. So I have a lot of that on my Instagram, of course. And I'm a very playful person. My logo for my business is a monkey. So like being in touch a little bit with your inner child. And I think life, if you can have a little bit of playfulness in most things, it becomes easier. So it's definitely a way for me to express myself.
So I will link to your Instagram page. It's quite informative. It's very entertaining. And again, as a strength athlete, when I look at the things that you post on your Instagram, your instructional videos about mobility, about flexibility, it opens my mind as a power lifter. It opens my mind to a whole nother side of the physical. And for anybody watching this who is a strength athlete, the mobility and the flexibility things that Lena puts out can help you. So there's a duality, to the whole thing about physical fitness. It's not just one or the other. It's a conglomerate of things. It's a combination of things if one wants to reach one's optimal health, and you play a good part in that.
Yes, thank you. I was very much inspired like 10 years ago by Ido Portal. I used to travel around to his workshops and brought as much as possible with me back here to my little city and started this group. But of course, then bringing it down to a level for the everyday man and woman, because it's like what they do is superhuman stuff in the end. It looks like. It's all about how you break down movements and most of us doesn't need to do a one hand arm balance. It's not the purpose of necessarily coming there, but on the way to that, how do you open up your hips and your shoulders and your back and become? I love to like the freedom of movement, like make your body play on your team, so you can do whatever you want in your life, not letting your body stop you, sort of. So. Being on the floor, So it's a big inspiration.
Well, you spent some time in India a few years ago, didn't you?
Yeah, I would as well.
And I would imagine No, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, I was there on a NLP education. So, but I also did yoga there. So it was a combination of things. Yeah.
So when you were there, did you pick up on any of the spirituality that can come with the practicing of yoga? Because, and I ask if you consider yourself spiritual because you're very much on the mental side of things, but does that translate into a spirituality for you?
Yes, it does. It does. Some of the things I picked up in India, especially, is actually said it, or the playfulness. I think never seen so much people grown up, especially men, maybe in the age of 40 and 50, with this, their eyes are like boys, like the playful. It's something. It was just something I picked up in the public in general, in probably in a deeper level, how they look upon life, so that I really picked up and brought with me home, like it's something of being, and the playfulness, being, looking for the way of enjoying life, looking for what to be grateful for instead of all the things we might be ungrateful for in life. So I talk a lot about gratefulness, actually, with the customers, and like how you can practice gratefulness, like making that more visible to you and feel more grateful, because it's really such an great impact how to live your life in general.
Well, the opposite of gratefulness is bitterness. That's one way of saying it. And unfortunately, there's too much bitterness in the world. But I look out at people that I come across, and I make my observations of the world, and I don't believe that there's more bitterness out there than gratefulness. It's just that sometimes the light is shined a little bit brighter onto the ugly things in the world, the ugly things of life. But I don't believe that there's more ugliness than beauty in the world. Would you agree with that?
I will totally agree with that, actually. I really think, it's more like feelings like being scared, or I think a lot of being scared makes us not see the beauty of life, because there's something in the way for us to see all the beauty, because we have a lot of feelings of being scared, and maybe that leads to bitterness and not seeing all there is to be grateful for.
Well, how can people fight against the fear? How can people change that fear into joy? Again, I don't believe that there's more ugliness than beauty in the world, but at times people can become way too focused on that ugliness that is there, and they become bitter. But how can people get pulled out of that? Because that's a very deep well to drown in, and it can be very difficult to get out there. What is your suggestion to people to get out of that?
What has helped me in my life when I'm been through heavy phases, like my divorce, and was divorced like 7 years ago, it's actually practicing gratefulness in very do it in a practical way, like writing a journey. And like every night I was, even of the worst days when I just felt down the whole day, but like, okay, if I think through this day, 5 things which I was grateful for, like training your mind to start looking for the little, maybe I was just the feeling I had drinking my coffee in the morning, maybe when I go out and this person smiled and said hello. And just in the evening, even if I had this terrible day, I felt like when I was starting writing my diary, in the end, I was like, oh, maybe there was some good in this day. And by doing this a lot, I feel now it's so much easier to me when I go around just an ordinary day and like be grateful. Oh, that's a nice smile. Hey, that's like all those little things. And that makes such an impact in the general feeling. I don't mean you're supposed to go around not being, of course, we're supposed to have all our feelings.
Yes.
But it's how you then end up having those feelings, I think. How you can work with them.
That's great advice, and that's an example of the wonderful material that you put out there. Again, I will link to your Instagram account, and for everybody watching this or listening, please go there. You may not think that you're interested in yoga. You may not think that you need to work on your mobility and physical things like that. However, within your message, Lena, that you put out there when you're addressing those issues, there's so much positivity. There's so much empowerment in it, to where I believe that regardless of a person's situation and what they're looking for, they can find something in the material that you put out there and be inspired by it. I really believe that.
Thank you. That's so nice of you. It's very nice.
Well,
I hope to inspire that way.
Well, I think you're doing it. I think you're doing a good job. I've seen people responding to what you put out there. And I go, when I go onto Instagram, when I post my own promotional things, I will always go in and look at what you've put up there. So keep on going. I'm watching. I want to ask you a question.
Thank you. I will. I
yeah,
promise.
do that, please. I want to ask you two questions before I let you go. I'm going to say 3 words, and then I would like you to finish the sentence for me, okay? That's the first thing I want to ask you. The 3 words are, Lena Kralicek is?
She's likes to inspire or something. I don't know.
That's a hard question to answer. I always throw that at people at the end. But isn't it interesting, a question like that? Isn't that interesting? Because it forces a person to have a little bit of introspection. It forces you to look into yourself and maybe evaluate your purpose right then and there. Yeah. But Lena Kralicek is...
a great question.
Lena Kralicek is...
inspiring. Because I love to inspire and spread good energy. It's always like energy and inspire, and that's always been sort of my words. It's kind of funny, when I went through some educations before, it's the words who came a lot of time was shining, inspiring, and glow, and stuff like that. So it's all I feel like I need to send out, and it doesn't drain me. It gives me energy to give good energy.
And that's important. I think people, when they realize the empowerment that you gain when you're giving back, the thought of giving so much may seem like it would be draining, but it's not. It gives energy. It gives so much back.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the answer to that question. Now, I'd like to ask you, please, to do me a favor. Can you say something that my viewers and my listeners can carry with them through the rest of the day after they watch this, and they can maybe let the words that you say echo in their brain, and it might help them through a difficult day, or it might make a good day a better day? What can you say to them, please?
That's stop and breathe 3 deep breaths with your nose, and really just take in the present moment with the smell and what your eyes can see and how you feel your body. Connect with yourself. Be in the moment a couple of times. Really go for it every day. That makes a huge impact, I think.
Well, I think so as well. Thank you so much for doing this, Lena. Thank you for taking some time to talk with me. We don't do this often enough. We have each other's phone number. I'm going to start calling you more often just to say hi and just to hear that lovely voice of yours. You should get your own show. Get on the microphone. You've got a voice. I love it. I just love it.
Thank you so much. I would love to give you a voice. So please call. Yeah, we should pick up the phone oftener.
We should do
it
that.
Gives me energy always to talk to you. Yeah, we should.
Likewise. All right, Lena, thank you so much.